Hello and welcome back to the sixth and final part of the All Golden Fruits speedrun tutorial. We're going to be going to Haunted Boardwalk, which is all the way over here. So something I do want to mention is if you are playing on PC, it's faster to use your mouse to scroll over to Haunted Boardwalk, but the problem is the level is actually hidden behind this little text box, so you actually can't hover over it. So what you have to do is scroll over to Scuba Duba first to get it to move over to this left side, then you can select Haunted Boardwalk. And if you're not on PC, you can just scroll over normally.
Pac-Man.
Skip this cutscene when you enter the level. Alright, and since this is a skating level, our fastest form of movement is going to be jumping all the time, just like Blade Mountain. So you kind of just jump along, kill the bats if they get in your way, which oftentimes they do, so you know, just get rid of them. I'm going to pause real quick. So these rails are really cool because there's a very important piece of speed tech that rely on them. So first things first, you actually don't go any faster if you were to jump on these rails than just grinding on them like normal. You got the complete same speed, doesn't even matter. And the next thing is, because you can jump across these rails, what you can do is jump and butt bounce on them when you jump across. That gives you a big burst of speed. Whoops. But yeah, when you jump and butt bounce, you get a big burst of speed. I believe the best way to do it is to butt bounce around the peak of Pac-Man's jump. And then the next thing you can do is you see on the end of the rail here, that's kind of where we're going to aim. If you butt bounce near the end of the rail, you get to keep all of your speed because you're no longer really connected to a rail, so the game doesn't try to slow you down. Just like that. And then we're going to tap Flutter because we actually end up over the poison swamp. Something you have to be careful of is the speed of your boost. If you get a boost that's a bit too slow, you might end up getting snapped to the ground, because if you are boosting, if you're below any ground and if you get close enough to it, you can just get snapped down to it. So like if you get a boost that's slow enough, you might just get snapped to the ground here. So you have to be careful to watch and see if you actually have enough speed to make it over here to where you can flutter off to this boardwalk on the right, because you'll actually be over the swamp like right around here. So you have to be really wary of that. So yeah, once you land here, you just keep going and jumping along. Don't really need to jump on the rails. You just keep jumping. Yeah, be a little careful here, because if you just do two big jumps off of this, I think you just flat out die. So I like to do a short hop and a big hop, and then another short hop. There's a bit of timing to it. I accidentally jumped a little too late there. It got hit by the bat. And then we do another boost here. So like you saw there, I got slowed down pretty quickly once I got that boost. We keep jumping. And yeah, it's nice to follow a jump pattern so you can kind of just do everything consistently. We're going to butt bounce here, because if you actually butt bounce on these rails, you keep your same airspeed as if you were just jumping on the boardwalks. And theoretically, yes, you can butt bounce across all of these, but it's one, really risky because you have your same standard air control, and two, it's hard. The issue with butt bouncing on these is, oops. Let's not. Okay. Anyways, the issue with butt bouncing on the rails is the first few butt bounces kind of have a slight pause in the air. So you're losing time with each of those, and you would have to gradually build that time back up with constant butt bouncing. And it's very hard to actually save time on any of these, unless you're just insane and like cutting corners like there. Alright, the second part, you have some little wall grinding. Something special, you just jump across here. Now here, we're going to have something special. You could either take the slightly slower path of, you know, just circling across the corkscrew, or you have what's known as corkscrew skip. It really is just, you just have to go off of vibes to figure out where you need to butt bounce. So what you got to do is you're going to jump. Oh, don't super butt bounce. Do not super butt bounce. You're going to jump, regular butt bounce again, butt bounce again. And then you can extend it through here and cut a few corners. It's really cool, but it's also really hard. Actually, I need to go backwards here because I missed a boost. So you're going to land about somewhere here. I'm going to boost up this ramp, jump across here, and we're going to boost off of this one here. Flutter to the left, because otherwise you're going to die. We keep going. This is definitely a very important level to learn. Jumping. I'm gonna jump over here to the right because I think you do lose a little bit of speed every time you jump across rails. Don't quote me on that though. But yeah, upcoming here is a very hard boost because of this boardwalk in the way. Oh shoot. So what you have to do is do the boost and then immediately kick once you get the butt bounce. Because if you don't do the kick, I'll show you what happens. You don't do the kick, Pac-Man just gets stuck on the boardwalk. So you have to kick, because then Pac-Man will just glide over the boardwalk, and then you have to flutter right at the right time. If you do it too low, there's a good chance you can die. So it's a very risky boost, but it's a really cool boost, and you get a good bit of time saved there. You can do a couple boosts up these as well. We're going to do another boost off the end of the rail at the end right here. Flutter right, and you kind of have to aim to land back on the rail. There, I completely failed. I was actually trying to aim for the balloon there and land on there. And then also, if you do end up going backwards here, you can hold the opposite direction of where you're going. And once you fall off the rail, you'll just immediately turn around. It's very good to know in case you need to save yourself like that. So we're going to try this again. I butt bounced a little too early there, so I just didn't get a boost. Let's try this again. A bit of a slow boost, but that's fine. Angle yourself properly, and awesome. I died there for a reason, because at the end you have to super butt bounce. Alright, coming up right here, at this first ring of that set of 3, you want to jump and super butt bounce, because then you can keep your same airspeed when going towards the end. Because at the end, you do end up losing a lot of your speed. So you want to make sure you keep most of it. So we're going to try that one more time and actually hit the goal. Jump, super butt bounce. And then once again, I also like to kick at the goal because your hitbox becomes a little bit bigger whenever you kick. That's Haunted Boardwalk. It's definitely one of the more confusing levels, so that's what questions are for. That's what joining the Pac-Man speedrunning Discord is for, because if you have any, there's a lot of people that are willing to help you. Anyways, let's go ahead and go to Night Crawling, which is actually a completely normal level. No cutscene to skip here. Alright, so the important thing is for this level is getting Pac dots, because we're gonna dot glide again, which we haven't seen since Butane Pain, which is kind of crazy that there's only this few applications of that glitch. Honestly, it helps to keep the game balanced. Anyways, what we're gonna do here is rev roll and go around here to collect all these Pac dots on this slope here. Normally, what we've done in the past is just super butt bounce up here. Simple. But yeah, now we have to actually get Pac dots. So we're gonna go around here, kill the skeleton because he gets in the way. Kind of swerve around to get all those dots. Whoa, almost died. I like to kill the skeleton just because all the skeletons are just really annoying. So yeah, anyways, then we rev roll across here. Now we have the superimposing maze. Ooh, we're not going to do any of that. So let's just go back up here. What you're actually going to do is rev roll over to this tree. This tree is really cool because we're going to do a proxy boost or a proxy launch. Butt bounce and kick into the tree. It sometimes takes a few tries to get. Whoa, and then you move over to the maze. Look at that. You made it up to the top of the maze and you can completely skip it. Cool, right? So these proxy boosts are still possible on current patch. They're just harder because that patch messed with the game's collision, but they're still possible. It's much easier on the old patch. So yeah, we're gonna rev roll over here, rev roll down here. You can kind of see where Pac-Man is just because of this top-down perspective, though it is a little wonky because it looks like I should be falling off right here, but I'm not. And then if I walk down right here, it looks like I should be standing, but Pac-Man's tipping over the ledge. So you have to be a little mindful. It's better to stay up towards the top. It's going to rev roll over the gap and bonk. You always ledge grab there. And try to rev to go all the way down here. Sometimes you grab onto one of these platforms, sometimes you end up down there. Either way, you just have to rev roll across there or rev roll across the mud. Across here. Jump and kill that skeleton just because he's annoying. Then we actually have to do Maze 2, unfortunately. Oftentimes you don't kill that skeleton. There is a way to skip Maze 2, but you need to be in fairy mode, and it does require another proxy launch with this tree right over here. Once again, you need fairy mode, because otherwise you won't make it. You don't have enough distance, unfortunately. Okay, Maze 2, you do have to figure out how to solve, but I will show you the exact solution. So you have to press that red button first at the top, and come across all the way over here. I'm going to keep rev rolling through and dodging all the skeletons. Press the blue button. Go all the way back. We're going to press the red button one more time. This gets us access to the pink button. So now we're going to go all the way down here. Make sure to avoid the skeletons and these spikes. You can actually rev-roll between the gaps in the spikes, but it's quite precise. So if I were to just stand right here, I'm completely safe. It's best if you're to do it with D-pad, just because you have the right angle. Just like that. Yeah, I often don't do it because I have a Switch Pro controller and the D-pad kind of sucks. So yeah, go back over here, press the red button again, and the maze is solved. Hooray! Around here, we have about 38 Pac dots, which I have way more than you should because I went over to Maze 1 for just a little bit, which you never do. So right down here, you have like 34, 35 maybe, I don't remember. Either 33 or 34. What I like to do is grab these 3 over this swinging log. The problem is it kind of triggers the skeleton, so you might want to kill him so we can do a second tree launch. Wow, press this button so we can lower these bedoings. And those bedoings are going to be important. You can rev roll over here, jump, and super butt bounce at the very edge of that platform. You can tap flutter to make it over here. If you don't butt bounce on the very edge, you might have to hold flutter to get enough distance to grab the ledge. So now that we're over here, we can actually rev roll across this gap. Whoa, I don't tip the platform that far. Yeah, just like that. And then oftentimes I end up just jumping up to this bedoing, rev across. You do have extra Pac dots you can grab, like you have a few right here, and if you bounce on these bedoings, you have an extra 6. Usually, around 37 is just enough to make it over to the maze. But if you're just starting out, I would say grab a few more. So like on average, you'd have maybe 43 like this. Or if you want a few extra, you know, you can just grab a few extra. Like here, I'll grab one there, one there. Now I have 45. So we're gonna go over here, butt bounce on the very edge of this, and start doing glides. I'm going to do a kick to get an extra boost, and you want to do one about every second. We're going to go over here to this right corner of Maze 3. Once again, to do the dot glides, you press butt bounce and dot throw in quick succession, like you can see on the controller display. Start moving the camera down just so I can see where I'm at. Okay, and we made it just fine. I think I didn't need to do that last throw, so I would have had 36, which is just enough to reach the maze. Perfect. So now we're on the edge of the maze, we're going to rev roll. Just be a little careful. We're going to jump across this gap. And then there is like a slight... Oh yeah, there is a bit of a wall here, so you have to move a bit to the left to avoid that. And keep rev rolling across. The camera's going to move just because when you go from here, which is the maze area, then to over here, which is the standard ghost room where you don't have your maze camera anymore. That's what happens. You can keep rev rolling over here. There's actually an invisible wall right here, so you actually can't fall off on this right side. And then we're going to rev roll down here to the checkpoint. You can rev roll and bonk into the lid and grab it, but it's pretty risky because if you fall off and die, then you have to do Maze 3 and the ghosts. And I don't think you want to do that. But it's something to practice because if you can do it, it gives you a better chance at getting a really fast cycle on this stage because there's cycles coming up ahead and they load in once you load the level. So I'm going to jump across these little bars just like this. Go backwards and jump and then move forward. Rev roll past the skeletons, jump to butt bounce on the bedoing, keep rev rolling. And these are the cycles I'm talking about. So these moving platforms are on about a 6-second cycle. So every 6 seconds they come back around to where you're standing. So anytime you beat this level, you'll either save or lose about 6 seconds for each cycle you save. Currently the fastest cycle we can do is for a 3-minute 14-second night crawling. Then your next best is 3 minutes 20 seconds, then 3:26. 3:32, 3:38, so on and so forth. And yeah, that is pretty much night crawling. You can rev roll while you're still on the platform and then do a little ramp across the gap, just because that lets you go the furthest or get off the platform sooner, like this. Bam. Then you rev roll in between the skeletons and hit the goal. Hell yeah. Yeah, these last levels in the game are definitely the ones you want to practice the most, just because they're some of the most optimized levels. And last but not least, we have Ghost Bayou. Actually, technically not last. Let's get the cutscene. Woohoo! At the start here, you can either do one of two things. Just rev roll, and jump across, and then take the ramp down. Or, once you're around here at the start, you can actually ramp off of this rock here on the right. We're going to go down. You can cut these corners here and get a little boost for whatever reason. I don't know why Pac-Man starts moving forward faster when you fall off like that. But, you know, take the dot chain here. We're going to do a few short revs. You can actually cut a lot of these gaps without jumping and just rev rolling across them. But yeah, there's a bit of a cycle you want to hit when you first start out to make it to this raising and lowering log. There's a lot of these throughout the level, so you kind of have cycles here throughout the start. And you can just rev roll across them. This bat is often in the way, so either try and avoid it by going around or trying to kick into it. Rev roll across. You can just flutter if you think you're going to fall into the acid. You really just have a lot of time to make the next log, or make the next time the log pops back out. Here's an example of a gap you can just make using a rev roll. It's very slick. Kill that skeleton because it gets in the way. And these ones you can't make, so you just do short hops and kick every time. It's another one you can make, but you have to charge up your rev a little bit longer just because of how big the gap is. Actually, I did just do that one just by instantly charging. But yeah, I would recommend charging your rev a little longer just so you have that extra speed. And then we get to the ghosts. So here, we have to push this button. And we have our instance of forced ghosts. So we're going to see Mega Pac-Man for the first time. Whoa. You just go around and eat the ghosts. All you can really do is move and jump and flutter, but you really don't need to flutter. And just bonk into the Wormwood Heart. That's what they're called. So yeah, Mega Pac-Man's nothing special. You can do the drags that I mentioned in Volcanic Panic with the Chrome Ball like that. They're a little tricky still with the power pellet, just because of the radiating aura from it. Anyways, when you're done with that, you'll be somewhere around here. And just keep rev rolling along. You can get a ramp off of this little corner here of the spike bars, but it's a little tricky just because of the spinning platforms. But you know, you don't have to get the ramp. If you don't do it, you can just jump across. You can actually make it over the spikes with just a short hop, but that's also a little tricky. There, I did it too late, too early. Try it again. There we go. Rev roll, short hop on the logs. Be careful of this swinging log as well, because if it's over here like this, then oftentimes if you try and jump underneath, ouch, and you die. Hooray! You're back here and you get to do this all over again. Yay. So anyways, touch the log, just be careful, and then rev roll under it. Nice. Here's another instance of cycles. We got a good one at least. Oh, right, you can rev roll while this one is up, like this. Right. Keep rev rolling along. Jump across. You can get ramps off of those buttons, but it's a little tricky. Anyways, here's another gap you can cut with a rev roll, but this one's a little hard because I think sometimes if you do just a short rev roll, you won't make it just because these are really at the same height. So just be a little careful. Sometimes if you don't make it, you just want to jump. We're going to go over here to the left. Jump across this bar. Make sure if you're on a bad cycle, you wait for the bar to pass. Hit this button. Now, we are not going to grab this dot chain. If you want to play it safe, you can, just so it's easier. But what we're going to do is jump around to the back of the bar. Now, if you grab here, you can just jump off and swing around. The important part is do not kick. Because if you were to kick when you grab the bar, you can't kick again when you jump off. So I'm going to jump and kick. Jump, spam kick. Nothing happens. So you do not want to kick, because we need that extra speed, because we're going to jump across over here and flutter when we're closer to poison, and you can grab the ledge here. There have been times where if you grab the ledge, Pac-Man just immediately lets go. I don't know why, so just be mindful of that, I guess, because it's kind of just random. So now, we're going to jump and butt bounce, and we're going to do dot glides in quick succession, because we want to gain height here. We're going up to these bedoings. These are the bedoings that lower when you press that other button down there. Because normally, you'd have to go around and play the whole level. But we're not going to do that because we have so many pack dots here. We can just go this way. We're going to keep gliding upwards. So you have to glide a little quicker to keep gaining height. Similar to what I'm doing here. If you do it too fast, like this, Pac-Man starts losing height because, you know, you just have to do the right timings, because otherwise Pac-Man doesn't enter this floaty state again in time. I don't know the proper explanation of why that happens, but yeah, you can't do it too fast. And then once you get high up enough, you can grab this ledge, and there's a whole walkable floor on this wall. We're going to go over here to this intersection, and we're going to rev roll forward. Hey, look, another floor. And hey, look, it's the Wormwood Arena. Whee! Hooray, we just skipped half the level. So go around, press the buttons like usual. And this is where Ghost RNG becomes a nightmare, because these ghosts like to move around and then end up in terrible spots. So when you grab the power pellet, there's a chance that you can get all of the ghosts with just a single use of the power pellet. Let's see if we can do it, which we can't. That ghost is way far over there. So, oh well, we have to do it in two. So in the meantime, we want to break these Wormwood hearts, and then wait for the power pellet to come back. So here we can actually try and do another drag. Nope, didn't get close enough. And it completely failed. Let's go. Anyways, you see the last ghosts, break the Wormwood heart, and skip your cutscene. If you're really lucky and the ghosts are in great spots, like they're just hovering over here around the hearts, you can break one of the hearts and then go and get the other ghosts if they're still hovering around the other heart and get a really good cycle. But oftentimes you just want to skip the heart to get the ghosts fast enough. But yeah, once you're done, you're gonna rev roll over here to the goal, and that's Ghost Bayou. Again, a very tricky stage. I'm going to keep reiterating over and over. These are the stages you want to practice the most because they're just the hardest. That, and along with World 4, which I don't have unlocked. Reason is I deleted the original save, so who cares? Anyways, now we're going to go fight Spooky. But we're not going to fight Spooky just by, you know, moving our cursor all the way over here like this. No, that's slow. What we're going to do is once we get out, pause, return to Pac Village. Wow, so easy. Skip the cutscene. Now, Spooky is a boss that exists. Okay, well, no. He's a little tricky. At least the first phase is. Phase 1, oftentimes what happens is you just run around, you kick him a few times, go over, likes to push you and shoot meteors and whatnot, do the lightning. This is really slow. What we're actually going to do is immediately rev roll towards him, let him push you back, and then we're just going to juggle him. So there's a couple spots I like to stand. I'm actually going to wait here just to show you the spots. So one spot is around here at this rock, and then this rock over here. What happens is whenever you damage Spooky, he tries to move to the furthest possible point away from Pac-Man. So like, let's say I go over and kick him. He just moves to the complete opposite side of the arena. Let's kick him again. I move back over here. Even though I'm very close to the center, he still tries to move to the furthest point possible away from me. So we're going to use this to our advantage. Whenever he does his force field, he once again moves to the furthest point. So we're just going to keep moving back and forth between the center of the arena and Spooky and just continually beat him up. And that's phase 1.
Man, I'm enjoying this.
He is enjoying this. Let's go. Phase 2 is probably the easiest phase. What you do is rev roll over here to the left because that's where Spooky likes to sit, and you can just kick him a few times. You want to delay. What you want to do is delay a little bit when he's charging up his lightning attack, because if you don't delay, he will do his little force field push and won't continue with his lightning attack. You want him to do the lightning attack. So you can get 3 hits off before he starts moving around. So we're going to jump and kick around here. Kick him anytime he gets close to you. Just like that. One more time. I'm going to kick him one last time here. Bam. Phase 2, done. And phase 3 is RNG. That's all it is RNG. So for his first attack there, he will either summon skeletons or do that slamming attack. You always want skeletons where they are possible because they're the fastest attack. And then for the second one, it's either lightning or meteors. They're both very similar in speed, but I think meteors are slightly faster if you do things right. Why am I just jumping here? You have to super butt bounce up across these platforms. Then this last one you can jump and kick, tap flutter, and rev roll on the ramp to hit Spooky. So you can actually manipulate Spooky a little bit. Not with the RNG, but where he starts moving these platforms up. Where I like to stand is this little spot with the dirt, this white picket fence here, and this cobblestone path. Right here in between the fence and the walkway is where I like to stand. Now there's several of these different points in the arena, but this is just the one that I like to gravitate towards. Yeah, here I got a double bones, which is actually pretty good. So yeah, I didn't talk about the second set of attacks. So the second set, the first attack is always lightning, no matter what. It will always be lightning. Then the second attack of the second set is either meteors or skeletons. That's the big one. Because if you get skeletons, then you're not sitting around for like 15 seconds waiting for the meteor attack to end. I don't think it's 15 seconds, but it's a big amount of time that you save from getting skeletons there. And then it just repeats from there. You have the either hand or skeletons, and then lightning or meteors for, so on and so forth. So we're going to stand here again, right around our spot to get Spooky to spawn the platforms sooner. Just like that. He barely moves over to his spot to summon them, and you can jump super bump bounce up. And there it is. Spooky is forever defeated. But the run's not over yet. We have to sit here and watch a 1.5-minute cutscene. Because, of course, there's a quick time event at the very end. And that is where time will end. So the best way to do it is you mash your jump button, because, of course, but also if you're on keyboard, you can also mash spacebar. So if you mash both of them, you can do it twice as fast. Theoretically, of course, but, Alright, here comes the quick time event. Get ready. And mash! Congratulations, you've completed the All Golden Fruits speedrun tutorial. So, once more, now that we have saved Pac Village, if you have any questions or any concerns or whatever, please ask them in the comments or join this Pac-Man speedrunning Discord. There's a link in the description. We have lots of people to help you there. And it's a great community, a lot of friendly people, and it's a great game to speedrun. So yeah, thank you one last time for watching. And yeah, I'll see you whenever I do more runs. Oh, actually, one more thing. I think this tutorial can get you around maybe like a 105, or hell, even lower, honestly. Like, if you just optimize your movement enough, you could really just flat out compete for record. There are some things I didn't get in this tutorial series, though, because there's just been a few new discoveries or whatever. Like, there's a cool skip you can do in Magma Opus, and we haven't even talked about what Volcanic Panic skip is, but nobody does that because it's really freaking hard. So, yeah, the end. Hooray.